العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن دعا بدعوته واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد فأوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. ويقول الحق سبحانه: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. All praises are due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and surely the best reward ultimately is for those who have taqwa. And surely there is no animosity except for the oppressor. And I bear witness that Allah is one and has no partners, and that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, is his servant and his last messenger. May Allah always and constantly send peace and blessings to Muhammad, to his family, to his companions, to all those who call to his way and establish his sunnah to the day of judgment. As to what follows, I begin by cautioning myself and you to have taqwa, al-khawf wal-raja, that we fear Allah Azza wa Jal and we hope in the mercy of Allah. And this consciousness would develop a type of wiqaya, a type of shield around us, a spiritual shield to protect us not only in the masjid but outside of the masjid. Not only on Jumu'ah, on Friday during the day, but Friday night. It is that taqwa that informs us constantly that there is one who has power over all things. And Allah Azza wa Jal has revealed to us in His mighty Quran in a way that was relevant to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions, and is still important and relevant for us today. Allah told us, O you who believe, have the consciousness of Allah and be with the truthful ones. And this sentence, this understanding, is of critical importance. And it comes to us from Surah At-Tawbah, verse 119. And the atmosphere around Surah At-Tawbah is one of conflict, when Muslims were under tremendous pressure, when their lives were being lost, when they were surrounded by the enemy. And so Allah Azza wa Jal said clearly, be with as-sadiqeen. And as-sidq, as the great scholars have shown us, has a number of dimensions, because people would think that it is just a person who just tells the truth. But there is more to it. There is as-sidq fi niyya wal irada. There is being truthful in your intentions. The very intention, why am I a Muslim? Why am I praying? Why am I doing these actions? So right from the beginning, it needs to be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And irada, or the mashia of an individual, is that in our will to carry out the intention, what we want to do should also be an honest one and connected to Allah Azza wa Jal. The second part is as-sidq fil qawl, and that is the honesty and straightforwardness in the words that we are saying. And so the intention is there, the irada is there, the will is there, and it interprets itself by coming out with sound. So the organized sound coming out of our mouths should be an honest one. And it should be honest with Allah Azza wa Jal. But the final part is as-sidq fil azam wal wafa. And that is that once the person says it, they have to have that resoluteness, that they will put it into practice. They move towards it. They don't just say it, they move towards it and they carry it out. So in other words, we don't just talk the talk, but we walk the walk. It's not enough just to say it anymore for a Muslim. It needs to interpret now in the things that we are doing, the people who we are with, the actions that we have, the intentions that we have for the future, because these will be critical. The movements we make in the next 5 years will be critical movements for our people and for the world. O you who believe, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His infinite mercy, has given us many examples. And Allah tells us in Surah Yusuf, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ إِبْرَةٌ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, that in their parables, in the stories around the people who came before you, there is wisdom, or there is lessons for those who would reflect. And so the qasas, the stories, make up over 1/3 of the Quran. 1 out of every 3 verses in the Quran is not just ahkam. It's not just a book of rules, but it is a book that gives us, that teaches us how do you implement the rules. In other words, not just ritualistic Islam, not just theoretical Islam, but what is practical Islam, living Islam. What happened to people in their lives, so that we could look at their example and we could benefit from this. And so it is today, in the world that we are living in, there are stories unfolding in front of us. And we need to look at what is happening around us, because it is not happening by chance. It is the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. That we here in the northern lands, feeling the temperatures now rising on us. And a few weeks ago when we had that terrible day, they said at that point our temperature was higher than the South Pole. And it is reported that some of the animals that normally live in the northern part of our region are actually going from, from south. Animals now are going from south north. So there are some animals that live in the southern part and they want to go north. Animals in the north are confused because it's melting up there. The ice is melting. The water is opening up. The seas are rising. And it's having a major impact in the world. And so humanity really is in a crisis. And so we look to the qasas. We look to the stories of those around us. What is happening to them? What is our example? Right now in California, that is considered to be the breadbasket of America, even Canada to a certain extent, the amount of agriculture, the amount of now cultural things which are impacting us in the social media, which come to us in our handheld devices, that California is one of the center places for the culture of people in North America, which is now influencing people all over the world. But what is happening in California is that people are out in the streets. Even Muslims are out praying in the streets, praying Salatul Istisqa. They are praying the prayer for rain. People are now, in whichever way that they relate to the divine, are calling out. It is the worst drought in 500 years. There is no record, no written record of moisture coming down, of rain, which shows a worse situation than what is happening right now on the ground in California. And because of this, it will have an impact upon the crops, the agriculture, which will influence people all over the Americas. It is also wildfires are happening, landslides are happening, and although this is the cultural center of the West, one of the richest places in the West, the people can only look around. They are now reaching the point of despair. But this is not an isolated incident. If we look at America alone, at the United States alone, And this is just one example because it's happening in Europe, it's happening all over the world. But as an example, you will see that in 2011, that there's been a series of natural catastrophes. But you really see it coming to fruit. 2011, the floods in Mississippi, which came to about $2 to $4 billion. In 2011, also tornadoes. Tornadoes hit Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Virginia. Major tornadoes coming in Missouri, which reached over $11 billion of damage was done to the countryside. 2012, with hurricanes, Hurricane Sandy being the worst, which caused eastern United States $75 billion. And these are not ending. It is intensifying on the people. But as quiet as it's kept, people need to look within themselves. And this is the folly and the weakness of humanity. Because at the same time, while California is the cultural center, it is also one of the centers of corruption for the whole of the Western world. The industry of pornography, which is now damaging the younger generation of the world. And in America, it's over $100 billion is being made from pornography alone. 90% of pornographic movies are filmed in one valley called the San Fernando Valley. In one valley alone in California is 90% of all of the pornographic movies that are being put out there, poisoning the minds of the younger generation. Because people all around the world are now impacted by the handheld devices. You will see everywhere in the world. You look at a picture of people, you land in a country and they're looking at their cell phone. They're always looking here. What are they looking at? Pornography is popping up. What does this do to an individual? The Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. If you don't have haya, then do what you want to do. You're capable of doing anything if you don't have haya. So when the hudud, when the limits are broken down in an individual, when their haya is gone, then we see they're capable of anything. And so coming out of this lack of haya is the use of illegal drugs, is alcoholism, is gambling, is adultery. All types of crimes are happening on the ground. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about this, talking about the people who came before. Look at the stories, look at the ibrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, which now applies to us today. In Surah Al-A'raf, verse 96, Allah Azza wa Jal has revealed, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَهْلَ الْقُرَىٰ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبُوا فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, and if the people of the towns, and these are the different societies of the ancient times, if the people of the towns had believed and had taqwa, they kept their duty to Allah. If they just believed and had taqwa, certainly we would have opened up for them blessings from the heavens and the earth. We would have opened up for them. But they lied. They belied the messengers, refused to believe in what the messengers brought, and so we took them with a punishment for what they have earned. We took them from a punishment for what they themselves have earned. And that is crucial, because people have warned in America, not only Muslims, but of other religions. Let us look at ourselves. Do we have to be the center of pornography? Do we have to be the center of drug and alcoholic use? Do we have to be the center of sexual crimes? What will come from this? The lessons are there, and the lessons are getting stronger and stronger and stronger, but the people are not listening. As Muslims, we need to listen. And those who are out there on the street trying to make dua, but trying to make dua surrounded by pornography, by other people. While you make your prayers, they're drinking alcohol. While you cry to Allah, they're taking drugs and making more pornography. If they would listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're in a crisis, and we Muslims have to listen to this for our own situation. Because we have crises that are hitting us now in our lands, where people are in desperate situations. And Allah Azza wa Jal said very clearly in Surah Al-Talaq, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, and whoever has the consciousness of Allah, whoever has the taqwa, Allah will make a makhraj, He will make a way out for him and provide for him from where he never imagined. So now they are dying, they are crying for water. The makhraj is there. They will be provided for from whence they know not. And whoever puts his trust in Allah, Allah will be sufficient for him. Now listen to what Allah said. Inna Allaha balighu amri. Allah will reach His purpose. This is not happening by chance. Allah will reach His purpose. And Allah has made a limit, a measure for everything. قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. There is a limit to oppression. There is a limit to murder and genocide. But we have to go through this process. Just like the person who has a terrible flu. And you try to give them medicine, but the doctor says, no, your medicine's not going to help. Comfort them. Let them drink water. Because the flu has to go through its cycle. It has to go through the cycle in order for you to build up the antibodies to fight it off. If you don't have the antibodies, how can you fight it off? What is our situation as an ummah? We also find ourselves in a very critical time. We have huge numbers, over 26% of the earth's population. We have young people, 60% of Muslims are young people. We have strategic positions all over the world. We have some of the richest people on earth. But it's a contradiction. If there are people in the desert region, they call orphans of the Sahara, the Tuareg people, suffering in Mali and Niger, suffering in the southern part of Algeria, and Libya. Don't even have enough even to drink or eat. And other Muslim on the other side building the largest Christmas tree in the world, or having the largest fireworks in the world. We have to learn before it's too late. Because we cry for change. And Muslims make the dua, they cry and they want us to, we have to, Allah, do something. Bring about a change. Bring on a Mahdi. Bring something. But Allah said very clearly, Inna Allaha la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change that which is in themselves. And so, we need practical lessons. Practical lessons. And the Prophet ﷺ did not speak from himself. He spoke with knowledge from above 7 heavens. He spoke about what would happen in our times. The time of corruption. We are surrounded by corruption, even we have it in our hands. Soon you're going to have it on your watch. Soon it'll be stuck inside your head. Soon you have holographic figures moving around in front of you. Corruption to the left, corruption to the right. The Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith, reported on the authority of Abu Huraira radiallahu an, Ya'ti ala nasi zamanun yukhayyiru fihi al-rajul bayn al-ajaz wal-fujur. فَلْيَخْتَعَ الْأَجَزْ عَلَى الْفُجُورِ. Ruwahu Hakim. This hadith, authentic hadith in Hakim, the Prophet ﷺ said, there will come a time when a person will be given the choice between being labeled incompetent, like an idiot, backward, or committing immorality. So this is your choice. Either they're going to consider you backward, or you commit immorality like the rest of them. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever lives until that time should choose incompetence over immorality. Let them call you backward because you don't watch the pornography. Let them call you backward because you're not taking the drugs, not taking the alcohol, not committing the adultery. Choose this, ajaz, let people know we're incompetent. That is better off in the eyes of the people, because in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to be a sadiq. And that sidq needs to be complete, a sidq fil azam wal wafa. In everything that you do, not just what you say, in the things that you do. And so, let us be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not those who drink alcohol. We are not those who take pleasure in interest and usury and bribes. We are not those who are involved in pornography. We are those who cover ourselves up and cover our outer with beautiful clothes. The Prophet ﷺ was blessed with a number of important companions, and throughout time his wisdom has reached many Muslims. And I want to share with you some very important points, because the Prophet ﷺ said very clearly, and we are looking at this study. Remember, the changes on the inside, right? Hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. You have to change inside. The Prophet ﷺ said, in the fil jasadi mudgha, idha salahat, salaha al jasadu kullu. Wa idha fasadat, fasad al jasadu kullu ala wa hiya al qalb. Inside, there is a lump of flesh. If it is sound and right, the whole body is sound and right. And if it is corrupted, the whole body is corrupted. And that is the heart. So the issue of the internal Muslim for us now is crucial. Remember the sadiqeen. The first part of sidq is an-niyya wal irada. That is the basis of sidq. The basis is inside of us, our intentions. One of the great tabi'een, rahimahullah, Al-Hasan al-Basri, mentioned 6 ways the heart can be corrupted. We want some practical ideas about our heart. Because people would say, yes, the heart is so important, but what thoughts do you have about the heart? Give me some practical advice. He said, rahimahullah, there's 6 ways that your heart can be corrupted. 1, committing sins in the hope of repenting. In other words, the person commits the sin and say, well, I'll do this, but Allah will forgive me. I'll do wrong, I'll drink, I'll commit adultery, and then when I reach 60 years old, then I'll make Hajj. And everything will be okay. I'll do wrong, after Ramadan, and then when Ramadan comes again, finish, it's gone. This is the heart becomes corrupted. It becomes, the fasad comes into it. Number 2, seeking knowledge and not applying it. Seeking knowledge, they do, talab al-ilm, but they don't put it into practice. They just like it. It's like a nice lecture, a nice talk. That will corrupt the heart as well. We seek knowledge, we must go the final thing, and that is as-sidq fil azm wal wafa. We have to now carry it out. Number 3, practicing our Islam without ikhlas. We practice, we fast, we give zakat, we go to Hajj, but no sincerity for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why are we doing it? Why are we Muslim? That ikhlas is now on us today. It is serious. It will change the quality of all of the believers. It will change us at a time when we need our quality change. Number 4, in the corruptions of the heart, eating the sustenance of Allah without appreciating Him. That's a beautiful statement. You eat the food, the rizq comes to you, you have a nice meal, and you say, that was a good meal, I like this restaurant. Thank you very much, brother. No, you say, Alhamdulillah. Appreciate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed that food to go inside your stomach. If you don't appreciate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a simple thing like this, the heart will become corrupted. Number 5, not being pleased with the will of Allah. When the qadar comes, we need to be pleased with it. We need to be thankful. Whatever Allah wills on us, we need to be thankful. And number 6, burying the dead without learning from them. Burying the dead without learning from them. There are many in the older generation now, people moving on. Take some time, younger generation. Sit with your parents. Sit with people who have experience in this society. Get that knowledge before it's too late. Otherwise, the heart becomes corrupted because we think we know everything. We're the younger generation. We can flip our cell phone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify and protect our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the corruptions of this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the children of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the innocent women of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah protect and unite and strengthen the men of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah raise up leadership in the Muslim world to guide our misguided political leaders from darkness into light. And may Allah help us that our last words would be our best words, that our last word would be kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa li sa'iri muslimin min kulli dhanbin istaghfiru innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. Alhamdulillah al-wahid al-ahad al-fard al-samad alladhi lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Wa usalli wa usallam ala khatam al-anbiya'i wa mursaleen nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Ya ibadullah ittaqullah haythuma kuntum wa yaqulu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ummati hadhihi ummatun marhuma laysa alayha adhabun fil akhirah adhabuha fid dunya. Al-fitan was al-lazib wal-qatl. The Prophet ﷺ reported in Abu Dawood has said, this my nation has a mercy on it. It is a nation with mercy on it. Its punishment is not in the next life. The punishment is in this life. Fitan, zalazil wal-qatl. Temptations and trials, earthquakes, and murder and genocide. May Allah Azza wa Jal help us to purify ourselves and save us from this punishment. ويقول الحق سبحانه مخبرا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وارض الله عن الخلفاء الراشدين أبو بكر عمر عثمان وعلي وعنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين وانصر عبادك يا رب العالمين اللهم انصر المجاهدين في كل مكان خصوصا في بلاد الشام والصحراء الكبرى يا أرحم الراحمين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريدا إلا شفيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا إلا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين عباد الله يرحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقم الصلاة